Today is the International Anti-Corruption Day. It's a day aimed at raising global awareness of the detrimental effects of corruption, as well as the importance of preventing and combating it. The forensics and cybersecurity team at Forvis Mazars says fraud and corruption are no longer about brown envelopes, that they've become a whole lot more sophisticated. They use emails and manipulated digital assets as well. They further add that the greatest failures in fraud prevention are seldom technological, but rather cultural, and that globally, nearly half of all fraud cases result in no recovery of losses, highlighting that detection without ethical governance is inefficient. For more on this, we're joined by Dr. Nishal Khusial, Head of Digital Forensics and AI at Forvis Mazars in South Africa. Dr. Khusial, welcome to African Business. Good to have you with us.
Wonderful being here. Thank you so much. It's indeed a privilege. Greetings to viewers and greetings to your esteemed colleagues around the table.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's start off with some of the newly identified risks that are emerging in the anti-corruption fight. It looks like it's not corruption the way that it was done before, that there are some new tricks that they've got up their sleeves.
Wonderful. And I think that's a very astute observation. What we are seeing in a nutshell is that the technological landscape and in our reality we find ourselves in, the core message is that corruption in the digital age also can't be separated from digital safety, organizational culture, or inclusion. The tools that are being used are getting more sophisticated. And what we are realizing that when it comes down to the perpetrators of these crimes, these fraudsters are well educated, they're well intentional, and they exploit weaknesses within the technological and governance frameworks. Technology alone is part of the focus areas, but culture in itself is also important. So a holistic framework to engage is crucial. The new mechanisms and the holistic approaches from fraudsters nowadays are indeed something which we haven't seen before. Technology only spurs them on. Our new digital reality in the sense of artificial intelligence and otherwise, which will also evolves the undesirable components within society as a whole. So we need to be one step ahead.
You spoke there around issues of regulation and government frameworks. And on that topic, how are cryptocurrencies being used in bribery, money laundering, and illicit financial flows? Because the measures and the governance around cryptocurrencies still not yet firmly globally established.
Most certainly. And I think to articulate that very, very specifically insofar as the utilization of the crypto landscape is concerned, what we have seen is that crypto is indeed a mechanism of the flow of funds. The issue that we have seen within the cryptographic landscape and also the cryptocurrency landscape is that it's easier for perpetrators of crime to siphon out funds, to hide the actual origin and the flow of funds. As time is going on, and indeed where we find ourselves at right now, is that there are tools which allow us to get more involved and get more adequately prepared to track these flow of funds. But traditionally, we've used and we've seen cryptocurrency as mechanisms in order to facilitate the movement of funds, illicit and or similarly otherwise, in ways that essentially were untraceable presumptuously. Nowadays, however, with more advanced, sophisticated cyber technology and cybersecurity and digital forensics mechanisms, we are able to track cybersecurity related crypto funds. But it is a different ballgame entirely when you are looking at your traditional banking transactional landscape and the ability to track that versus your cryptocurrency landscape and the ability to track that.
How do you balance the scales between, innovation within the fintech space and the tracking and the tracing of the digital financial transactions without innovation being impeded by the possible backlash and the negative that can come from this innovation?
Right. Brilliant question. And I think one of the things which innovation needs to be fixated on is it needs to be tangibly aware of what the surrounding environment is. Innovation in isolation without taking into account what is happening on the criminal element side, especially if we look at the forensics landscape, is not going to be innovation that speaks to the proposition and the issues we find ourselves in. In a nutshell, if you match innovation to what is happening within the evolution of the criminal element, that would give you an ability to use innovation in a way that is both protagonistic against the antagonists within the technological landscape and as a tool to prevent issues as they occur. We've heard about your traditional ransomware. We've heard about your traditional phishing attempts. The more sophisticated attacks in nowadays that we see is alluding to steganography, polymorphic approaches, man-in-the-middle attacks. So without getting too technical, innovation in itself has to be conscious about the surrounding environment it finds itself in, insofar as the criminal element is concerned, and measure and develop itself accordingly in protagonism against the antagonists we find in society.
Dr. Nishal Khusial, thank you so much for focusing on this really important aspect of, not only cybersecurity, but corruption in all of its forms, highlighting their conscious innovation. That's quite a phrase. I think it's a quotable phrase. Dr. Nishal Khusial, Head of Digital Forensics and AI at Forvis Mazars in South Africa. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.